Breaking news out of the NBA. LeBron James is taking his talents to Philadelphia. It's a 2-year deal worth $8 million, including a player option in the second season. That's according to ESPN. This news coming less than a month after Philly acquired 5-time All-Star Jaylen Brown from the Celtics. It will now be the 4th team that LeBron plays for in his career. He's the NBA's all-time leading scorer and has won a championship at every stop so far. That includes Miami, Cleveland, and Los Angeles. James, of course, is going into year 24 in the NBA and will turn 42 years old in December. We now bring in our NBA expert, Sam Quinn. Sam, I was not expecting this news to come down on a Friday afternoon, but here it is. First, I have to ask you, what is your immediate reaction to this news? I was shocked. The newsroom had a fervor going about it. How do you feel right now?
Shock feels like the appropriate word. I had sort of assumed throughout this process it was going to be Miami or Cleveland. That felt like the safe decision. You know, LeBron obviously has played for 3 teams in his NBA career. He's won championships with all 3 of those teams. I sort of thought when the dust settled, he was not going to want to risk that. Now, that being said, you go 4 for 4. That is about as impressive a resume as anything anybody in the history of basketball has ever done. That's the sort of thing that can stand up to Michael Jordan's 6 for 6 in the NBA Finals. So it feels like a risk more than anything, especially with those fans in Philadelphia. If you're going for the storybook ending, those fans, if this doesn't work out, are not going to cooperate. But this seems like LeBron, more than anything else, trying to win that 5th championship, trying to go 4 for 4 with his next NBA team. So I am shocked. It's going to take me some time to settle into this, but the basketball upside here is considerable. I think there is a chance that he does win that 5th championship.
Obviously, LeBron is chasing that 5th ring, and we know that. That was made apparent in this whole suiting process. But you look at Philadelphia, do you think that he just liked that roster the best and felt that that gave him the best opportunity to get another Larry O'B?
Yeah, I think that has to be the decision here, right? Because he has the sentiment in Cleveland. If he wanted to play golf, it would have been Miami. This feels like a basketball-driven decision more than anything else. And if you look at the pure talent on that team, I mean, Tyrese Maxey's an all-star, Jaylen Brown's an all-star, Joel Embiid is an all-star, VJ Edgecombe, number 3 overall pick, lived up to that billing last year. They add Dean Wade, they add Anthony Simons in the offseason. They have far more depth now than they had last year. There are some questions here about how this is actually going to work fit-wise. A lot of guys on that team need to have the ball. I don't know how eager LeBron is going to be to watch some of those guys dribble, but if you look at this as a pure talent play, that's maybe the most talented team in the East. I think the Knicks, the defending NBA champions, would have something to say about that. But the pure talent of this roster, if they can just get through the playoffs healthy, which is a big risk with a 42-year-old power forward and a Joel Embiid at center, they're going to be one of the most dangerous teams in the postseason. Yeah,
it makes me think of the Warriors back in the day with all that talent. If Embiid can be anything like his MVP level, LeBron James putting out a statement, this all is changing as time goes by, saying this on social media. I thought I was done when the season ended. I wasn't ready to announce it, and I knew I needed some time to really decide, but I was pretty sure I played my last game. I was honest at that last press conference when I said I needed to look at myself and decide if I still love this game. I truly love this game, and I have more to give. The last few weeks have been really special. I've never been able to have no clue what to do and take real time to just think. I've had an incredible few months with all the people I love trying to figure it all out. This is my last decision. I'm not going for money. I'm not going for family. What am I really playing for at this point? I still want to sacrifice. I still want to work. I still want to grind. I still want to compete to win and to have a chance at the feeling of winning another championship. I believe I can help make the Philadelphia 76ers a championship team, and I am so excited to energize a new fan base and start this incredible journey one last time. Thank you, LA. Miami, I'll forever love, and Northeast Ohio will always be home. The King. Those are LeBron James's words. A lot said right there, Sam. What is your first initial reaction from that?
That this is a basketball decision more than anything. That this is a decision driven by the fact that LeBron James still has very good basketball in him. And I think he looked around at the field and said, I could go home to Northeast Ohio. I could go back to the Cavs, but I just watched that team get stomped by the Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals. I could go to Miami. I could play with Giannis Antetokounmpo, but that's a weird basketball fit. There's not nearly as much talent there. It seemed like he simply decided, I have too much good basketball left in me to make a decision driven by narrative or comfort. I want to make a decision that can help affect the championship picture. I think I can still win another championship, and apparently Philadelphia is the place to try to do it. Now, there is a lot of risk you're absorbing by doing this. I think Joel Embiid's health is something that's going to linger over the season. I have some questions about the fit. How much is he going to have the ball? But all things being equal, I think this is the best opportunity considering it's the Eastern Conference, considering all the talent on that roster. That statement read to me like LeBron James saying, hey, I don't care that I'm 42. There is still good basketball in me, and Philadelphia is the place that I can show it.
So let's break down this roster then, because obviously that is the main driver of why LeBron goes to Philly. You see this potential starting five. You slide the King into that 4 spot there, power forward. How does this roster work? And you alluded to it a little bit already, Sam. This is a guy in Maxey and Jaylen Brown who want to have the ball in their hands. LeBron's at his best probably running and playing that point 4. How does this get it done?
Well, I think the immediate plus here is there is very little passing on this team aside from LeBron. The Sixers, I believe, were 28th in points generated off assists based on percentage. And then, of course, they had Jaylen Brown, who is not much of a playmaker, somebody who, one of the reasons it seemed like Boston might have considered trading him was that low assist-to-turnover ratio. They badly needed somebody on the floor who could serve as a connector between all of these scores, and LeBron is maybe the best connector in the history of the NBA. But the question here is going to be, like, who's initiating possessions? Where is LeBron going to stand on the floor? Joel Embiid and Jaylen Brown both like that mid-range area. It's going to be harder for LeBron to operate out of that high post as he usually does. Tyrese Maxey is the point guard. I don't know how often LeBron is going to be initiating offense. LeBron likes to operate in the post, and Embiid does as well. So there are going to be real questions here. How can Nick Nurse make the most out of all of this talent? But Nick Nurse is a creative coach. They're going to have a lot to work with here. And just the pure idea of somebody on the floor, you know, the worst defender on the other team, having to maybe guard a LeBron James or VJ Edgecombe, the Sixers are going to have matchup advantages everywhere. It's that simple. When you have this 5-man lineup on the floor, they're going to be able to generate mismatches against any team in the NBA, maybe except for Oklahoma City or San Antonio. So there's going to take time to figure out the fit, but once they do, if they can stay healthy, this is an incredibly talented roster.
Yeah, those questions with fit, I'm very curious about. How does Jaylen Brown feel about not being the guy on the roster anymore? What option is LeBron going to be? But I ask you this because he's going to win a title. Where do you place the 76ers in the Eastern Conference now in their hopes?
Well, this is tricky because of Joel Embiid's health. If I knew Joel Embiid was going to play 70 games, I think I'd probably pick the Sixers second behind only the Knicks. But I don't know that Joel Embiid is going to play 70 games because he never plays 70 games. When you factor in the possibility of injury, the possibility of age-related decline, I don't look at Philadelphia as a dominant regular season team. So I'm compelled to slot them in somewhere in the Eastern Conference, like in the middle, in that 4-5 range. But if they're healthy, as we saw against Boston in the first round, if you can get, 4 rounds out of Joel Embiid, they are lethal. They can compete with anybody in the conference. So for now, I'm going to put them below the Knicks. I'm going to probably put them below the Pacers. I'd probably put them below the Raptors if the Kawhi Leonard trade goes through. But that is just in a regular season sense. I think if you get them into the playoffs healthy, they can compete with anybody, and I would pick them over anybody but the Knicks.
July 24th will be a day we will not forget. LeBron going over to the Philadelphia 76ers. Sam Quinn, thank you so much. This is not the end of the conversation. It's just the beginning, and the beginning of trying to get your odds in there to place bets to win the NBA Finals.